Hi everybody and welcome back to this INDESIGN class. In this lesson I'm going to show you how to use the type tool. So we'll see how to create a text frame and type text into it, and also how, for example, to place text from other programs outside INDESIGN. But before doing that, let's briefly recap what we've seen in the last video. So let's first of all create a new file from the blue button here. Alright, let's create a file of 5 pages. Facing pages is fine. Portrait orientation, 1 columns. Alright, let's create. So here we are with our document of 5 pages. So in the last video, we talked about the pages panel that we find here on the right side, or from window pages. Alright, so this pages panel is now showing us how many pages we have in our document, and also how many parent pages we have, which we also learned in the last lesson. And if you remember, we saw also this button up here on the right that shows us all of these options that we can do. So how we can work with this panel. So for example, we can add, move, delete or duplicate normal pages in our document, or also create new parent pages. Then we saw how we can arrange the pages in our document and also here in the panel. So they are now vertically arranged. We can also change this on horizontally, checking this voice. So as we see now, they are in an horizontally position. And last of all, we have alternate layout. That first of all we have to create. So we can go here, create alternate layout. And so we saw how we can, for example, name it and edit the page size, the orientation and the measures. So now let's not do it. And last, very important, we saw how to work with the parent pages and also how to work with sections that are shown by these little arrows here. So now we just have one, so we have just one section. So let's, for example, create a new section from page 4. So let's double click on it, and then by right clicking on it, we have to go on numbering and section options. So from here, we can do some settings and then create a new section. So we can decide which page we want to start this new section. If we want to leave it as it is, so page number 4, or if we want to restart numbering them from page 1. So these two options, automatic page numbering or start page numbering at, and we decide which number we prefer. Then we saw this section here, so where we can decide the section prefix, the style we want, and also if we want to label our section in some way, so the section marker. Let's write, for example, new section, and okay. Let's not focus on this word name because it's not important, and okay. Alright, so as we see now, we have another little arrow here that show our new section to start from page number 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then 1 and 2. Alright, let's go now on the parent pages. Let's go, for example, at the bottom of this page. Let's create text frame with the type tool that we find here on the left side. Alright, let's right click on the text frame, and from insert special characters, markers, let's go on section marker. So right now we just see section, but if we go back on the first page of our new section, here it is, the section marker we just decided before. Alright, so let's go back now on the parent pages and let's see how to number the pages of our document, which is also a really helpful thing. It's basically the same process we just did for the section marker. So let's create another text frame and then right click on it and insert special character, markers. This time though, we have to go on current page number. So now there's a letter because we are currently in a parent page, but don't you worry, because if we go back in our document, we're not going to see the letter, but a number. So everything's fine, everything worked. Right, so this was just a briefly recap of the things we saw in the last lesson. So now let's start with today's lesson. So let's put the pages panel right back here and let's create another document from scratch. So from File, New, Document. Alright, so in this case, let's just create one page. Portrait orientation, 1 columns. Alright, let's create the document. First things first, let's see how to create a simple text frame. So we're gonna find the type tool here on the left side, here where we see this T. So let's click on it, and then by clicking and dragging, we're gonna create this rectangle here, this area here, which is gonna be our text frame. And here we are, so this is our text frame, and here we can type whatever we want. So let's first increase the font volume, perfect. And then we can write, for example, hello everybody and welcome here. Then we can also adjust the text frame around the text, like this for example. And of course we can drag it wherever we want. So that's it. Really simple to create text frame and put text inside. Let's create now a new text frame, text box, alright. Now, if we wanna, for example, fill this text frame, but we don't know what to write because we just need it for, I don't know, an example, we can, by right-clicking, fill with placeholder text. So INDESIGN is gonna just fill this text frame with a preset text. So it's gonna be as long as it needs to fill this text box. Alright, and if now, for example, we are gonna move this text frame and reduce it or adjust it in some other way, and if you reduce the volume too much, this red plus sign is gonna pop up, so that it's basically telling me that there's more text, that it just got cut off. Alright, so now I have two options. I can simply increase the volume of the text frame as much as I need, or I just click on this red plus sign and create a new text frame, which is going to be connected to the first one. So let me show you what it means. So basically I'm just going to add some text here, and you're going to see that also the second text frame is going to have some changes. So I will just right click again and fill with placeholder text. So as we see now, even if I gave the input in the first text frame, also the second one got affected by it. And that's because they're connected, they're correlated. And this is called threading. Alright, so let's see now how we can import some text from other programs. So for example, from Word. First of all, let's add some pages. So let's open the pages panel, and by clicking this button below here, we're gonna add 2 pages. Perfect. Now what we have to do is going on File, Place. So let's select the file, and important thing before to go on Open, I suggest you to check this box that says Show Import Options. In some seconds we're gonna see why. And then let's go on Open. So this is why we just check the box, because this way we are more in control of the text we are importing from outside. So we have here some options and some settings. So for example, what we want to include with this test, and then also this section here, and we can choose if you want to preserve or remove the styles and formatting from text and tables. So personally, I suggest you to almost always check this box here, so remove styles and formatting. So mostly because this way you can start with a clean slate that it belongs just to INDESIGN, and it doesn't inherit anything from Word or whichever program you are importing the text from. And also because this way we can put our own styles. using paragraph and character styles. But of course, all of these options and settings, they're up to you. So whatever you prefer. And once we are done, let's go on OK. Right, so now here I have the text I'm importing from Word. Okay, so now we have like a few options for opening this text that we have here. We can open it just by clicking on the document, and here we are. Or by doing Ctrl Z, we just undo the last thing we did, and then we can click and drag this text frame as much as we want, so how we prefer. Or another one, which involves Alt from the keyboard. So before opening the text, we are gonna click on Alt from the keyboard, and then we're just gonna create our text frames. And you see, this way I can create as many text frames as I want, till I have my text, of course. And especially I can create them the size I want. So for example, if I want this small here or here, now it's done because I don't have any more text. It's just another options we have, which is called semi-automatic text placement. And now I'm gonna show you what happens when we want to open a very long text. So first of all, let's create another 2 pages, for example. And this time, let's change the number of the columns. So let's go on Layout, Margins and Columns. Let's create 3 columns with a 5mm distance between them. Alright, OK. And now let's place another text from Word by going on File, Place. Let's select the file and then let's go on Open. So again, we have here the Microsoft Word import options. Everything's fine, so let's go out OK. Alright, so when we have a long text, what we can do is opening by pressing Shift from the keyboard. And then click here on this margin edge. So now what happened? That the text, it just opened itself following the arrangements of the page, the settings of the page. So now I have these 4 text frames that perfectly align with the column of the pages, which is pretty cool because all I had to do before was just press Shift from the keyboard and 1 click. So I suggest you to remember it, especially if you have to open a really long text. So another thing we could do here, another thing we could see in the text frames, it's the hidden characters. We can check this box, this voice, and here they are. If we zoom a bit in, we're gonna see this blue different sign. So these dots, for example, or this we see here, or this one, for example. So these are the hidden characters that we find in the text. So, for example, the dot means that there's a space between the 2 words. And as you can see now, every time I press the bar space, I have another dot. While this sign here, that looks like a reverse P, shows the end of a paragraph. Now, for example, it ended because the text here continued in the next line. So for example, if I here now press Enter from the keyboard, I will see another sign here. And this is what a paragraph is. So now that we are inside the text frame, you can see here the bar control that shows 2 different sections, the paragraph formatting controls and the character formatting controls. And I have different options between them. So for example, here I can choose the font I want, or the font size, the leading, the tracking, kerning, and in the paragraph formatting controls, I can choose how to align my text. So for example, let's go here in this empty page and let's create a new text frame. By right-clicking in it, let's fill it with placeholder text. Right. We can also hide again the hidden characters. Perfect. And as you can see here now, for example, my text is aligned on the left. If I want to align in the center, I just click here and here it is. So I can also choose to align it to the right side or have a justified text with the last line aligned to the center. Now I have a few different ones because they are all different paragraphs. And here in the paragraph section, I also have this option up here, which allows me to align my text to the baseline grid. Remember, we can find it here. Let's activate it. And now, as you can see, my text is not really aligned to it. If you see closer, you can see here that the different sentences are not aligned on the lines of the baseline grids. So how we can adjust it? First of all, we have to select the text, which we can do it manually, like this, or by clicking on Ctrl-A from the keyboard, which is another key short really useful, especially when we have a really long text. Alright, so now we just have to click here, and here we are. We're gonna see that now all the sentences of my text are perfectly aligned with the lines of the baseline grid, which is now looks way more tidy and neat. Alright, so also for this lesson it's all. Thanks for following me, and I hope you found it interesting. So in the next lesson, we are gonna keep talking about the text, but we're gonna go a bit deeper into it. So I'm gonna show you some others, maybe more particular tools about it. So stay tuned, and I hope to see you all in the next lesson. Bye bye, everybody.